and many don't know too much about him. You say you can't live without him. Why don't you tell someone about him? Souls are wandering, searching for more. Everyone's competing, but no one knows the score. Can we stop the fighting, the hatred and the war? If we continue to crucify, what did he die for? How many lives are we changing? How many souls are we saving? If we're judging one another, how could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found? How do you claim to know him?
Do you really know him?
When your life never really shows him. How do you claim to love him and not tell someone about him? Souls are wandering, searching for more. Everyone's competing, but no one knows the score.
No one knows the score.
Can we stop the fighting, the hatred and the war?
Don't let hate win.
If we continue to crucify, what did he die for?
Don't let his life be in vain.
How many lives are we changing?
How many lives?
How many souls are we saving?
How many souls?
If we're judging one another, how could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found?
A hypocrite, written by definition, is a person who pretends to have virtues that doesn't live within. If you don't get the gist, a hypocrite is a Christian who testifies to show their strength with demons they refuse to rectify. So many times I've been arrested by a Christian who cuffs were only strengthened by the evil they still exemplify. But who am I? Still a sinner, a spawn of Satan for taking the time to call out the fake and you all behaving. I know what makes me no better, but who am I to judge? The day has come for us to pray and love instead of hate and grudge. It's time to face it. One of the main reasons people end up leaving and stop believing is really cause of us. If God can have forgiveness, why we ain't forgiving? Why we ain't instilling values of love inside of our children? The mission isn't conviction, your judgment can cut your time short. We continue to crucify, what did he die for? Tell him.
How many lives are we changing? How many souls are we saving? If we're judging one another, how could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found? Light so dim it leads people astray. Religion and tradition keeps the broken hearts away. If we're judging one another, how could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found? How could the lost ever be found?